All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. This is going to be a lesson on how it's pretty much going to be talking about a technique that I've seen that Christianity uses, and it's definitely a technique. I have to use that word to describe it because what they do is it's very sneaky, man, right? And what it is that they do is they pretty much, if you quote anything from the New Testament, I mean from the Old Testament, and they don't understand what it means, they'll just try and say, oh, but that's talking about the Old Testament. It's not relevant. It's happened already, right? But there's several things in the Old Testament that are written that are relating to either happening in the some of them have happened in the New Testament, but then there's other things that have happened that are waiting to still happen in the times that we're living in right now, right? There's several things that are written in the Old Testament that have not even took place yet, and I was writing down some, and I found at least more than 10. There's definitely more than 10 scriptures that I'm looking at here, more than 10 prophecies that are waiting to happen. All right, now I'm gonna go to some. All right, this is Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh has spoken it. Jump down to verse 21. And Savior shall come upon Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be Yahweh's. So that's not happened yet. The Edomites being completely destroyed has not took place yet, but these Christians, if you ask them anything regarding this kind of stuff, as soon as they don't know the answer, they'll say, but that's the Old Testament. So that's happened already. That's been fulfilled, because they really don't want to have to go into the ins and outs of having to read the Bible, because they know it's a long task, and they'd rather just bang tambourines, right, or throw events at the church, get tithe money, and be seen as the world by the world, as though they can just claim and say I'm Christian, and then try and make out like they're better than everybody else and that they're more righteous, man. When really, as far as I can see, a lot of these people that claim to be Christians are some of the most proud and vicious people, man. Right? And that's why Yahweh, or a lot of those people that are around that guy Volcab Malone, a lot of people that have tried to come up against the Israelites, they're being revealed amongst themselves with how they deal with each other. That the way they deal with each other is sneaky. Right? Now let's go into another thing that hasn't happened in the Old Testament. That hasn't even happened now. He's still waiting to be fulfilled. This is Isaiah chapter 2 and verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days, right? This has not happened yet. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, come ye and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. And this is not taking place right now. It's very obvious that people are not teaching the rest of the world to keep the laws. Those people that are claiming to be the people, that everybody else wants to accept them as the people, they are not doing this, right? Verse 4, and he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And there's many swords and weapons of warfare in this world. There's nukes in this world still, right? The ultimate weapon of warfare. So it's very clear that this prophecy has not been fulfilled. But if you ask a Christian about these things, and if they can't understand it, they'll just say it's happened already, because they're just liars, man. Like they're more than happy to lie in order to appear right, man. And here's one thing that they'll do as well is, if you start asking them questions about the Israelites and about all the prophecies that I mentioned regarding the Israelites, and you might not even be a person that claims that you are Israelite and you don't even believe that you are, right? But they'll just scream, oh, you're a BHI, and then not want to answer the question. But regardless of whatever you claim to be, whatever you say you are, they should answer the question the same way every time. If a Muslim that comes up to them and who don't even believe in the Bible, they should answer the same way. If an atheist comes up to them, they should answer the same way. If a Buddhist comes up to them, they should answer the same way. If a person that's on that Rastafari doctrine comes up to them, they should answer the same way. But they're going to answer a different way every single time somebody else comes, the outcome of their speech is going to be different each time, man. And that's the sneaky way how these Christians get down, man. It's very evil, man. That's the simplest word I can use for what they do. This is Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 5. Yahweh have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Now, has that happened yet? Has it happened that Yahweh's broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers? Verse 6, he who smote the people in wrath with a continuous stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. Who was that? Who's that talking about? Has this taken place? Has this taken place? Verse 2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So how comes they ain't, where has this happened yet? But if you ask a Christian, they'll say, yeah, it's happened already, if they don't understand what it means. They'll say, that was talking about in Babylon. The Israelites didn't take the Babylonians into captivity. The Babylonian Empire got taken over by the Persian and the Mede Empire. And then the Persian and the Medes fell to the Greeks. So what these people are saying, they don't know what they're talking about, man. But rather than admit that they've stepped in deep water and they're drowning, right? They're gonna be in that water pretending that they can swim, splashing and frothing around, right? They know they can't swim. And rather than just climbing, swim, like grabbing onto the edge and just watching from the sidelines and practicing, kicking their feet while stretching out their body and just kicking their feet, or rather than putting on some armbands or putting on a float, right? Or holding a float to swim, they're trying to pretend as though they can swim, diving into the deep end and drowning spiritually, man. If you don't know a scripture, just admit that you don't know it and learn what it is. If you really was about the truth, you'll just say, you know what, I don't know that right now, but my teachers know, because your teacher should know it. So then you could say, I don't know that, but my teachers know it, so I'll find what they say, and I'll send you the video. I'll send you the link to the video so that you can learn it from them, or I'll do some more research and I'll learn that. But they'll just froth at the mouth and pretend as though they know, and that's why when they really can't come up with an answer on the spot and through their witchcraft, they'll say that's happened already. Oh, but that's the Old Testament, right? So that's happened already. That's a very lazy way to go about reading the Bible, man. Oh, it's the Old Testament, so that means it's happened already. As if the Old Testament isn't bigger than the New, in terms of the amount of books. They're it's very lazy, man. It's a very lazy way to read the Bible. Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 31. Let's see if this has happened already. Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 31. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although as a husband unto them, saith Yahweh. But this shall be the covenant that I'll make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh. I'll put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Has this happened already? Are the Israelites keeping all of God's laws? Has that happened? No, it hasn't. So therefore, you can't just try and be lazy and say if any book that someone's reading from is the Old Testament, it's happened already. That's lazy, man. Verse 34, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, know Yahweh, for they shall all know me from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahweh. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sins no more. So has this happened already? Because if it has happened, and if it's happened, then why are you Christians teaching for? Because surely everyone would already know about the Lord, right? So you wouldn't have to be teaching. They wouldn't need no churches where they're teaching and collecting everyone's tithe money, because everyone would already know the Lord, right? So that hasn't happened neither. It hasn't happened, man. Let's go to another thing that hasn't happened. It's very aggravating to hear these Christians talk about the scriptures when we know, man, as Israelites, we know that these people do not believe in the Bible, man. That's why they're setting up groups, right? Like some weird type of Avengers thing to come up against the Israelites, rather than just being like, we've got billions of people that believe what we're believing, so we've got the truth. They wouldn't need to, like, if what we're saying is wrong, right? The billions of people that believe what they believe should be able to drown out whatever we're talking about. But the small sanctuary that Yahweh set up of truth is drowning out what them billions of people are speaking about, man. And that's where you have all these Christians that was happy to take these injectables into their body, man, and didn't question it at all, and actually had the nerve to use the Bible to justify it, man. Amos chapter 9 and verse 9. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in the sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. In that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom, and all the heathen, which are called by my name, saith Yahweh. Has this happened yet? Has this happened? Because if you ask them, they'll try and make out like this took place, right? But we know that it hasn't took place. We know that this has not happened, man. And let's go into King David. Let's go some more into this, because there's some more things that these people have got to ask. They've got to answer, man. They've got to answer these questions. If there's a group of people that are claiming to be these people that this Bible speaks about, right? But then now another group of people stepped in and said that we're them people as well. Us, the Negro, Latino, and Native American, we're also saying, well, now we're them people. You're lying, and we're fulfilling the things that's written. We can see the evidence of the things that this Bible said about us, and we can apply it to our lives. How comes we can't apply it to yours? How comes we can't apply it to your history? How comes everything that you try and apply to your history regarding the Bible, right, has to be something that's way back, ancient, like you'll say, oh, that was fulfilled in Babylon? Because you know that there's no necessary easy to find proof that you can say that, nah, that's talking about you. So you have to go thousands of years back in order to try and say it. But we only have to go like 100 years, 150 years to show where we was under slavery, under another nation, because of curses, for sinning against the Most High Yahweh. Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 21, and say unto them, thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and I will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall no more be two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. So has that happened yet? Because I'm pretty sure that those headbangers, right, are talking about that them people are not all the tribes in there. I'm pretty sure I'm hearing them say that, right? I'm pretty sure that's what they say. Verse 23, neither shall they defile themselves. And I'm pretty sure they also say that there's several people that are non-practicing. But if they was fulfilling the new covenant, if the new covenant had been fulfilled, there wouldn't be no such thing as a non-practicing, because all would know him from the least to the greatest. So even a person that's close to being homeless would be knowing about Yahweh's laws and fulfilling them. Verse 23, neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them, so they shall be my people, and I will be their God, and David my servant shall be king over them. So where's David at, man? Because that's what they like to try and say, oh, it's everything's in the Old Testament's happened already. That's happened already. That's what they like to say, but show it then. Prove it. Prove that it's happened already. All we're asking for, show us where David's at, man. Where is he at? I'd want to see him, you know. Where's he at, man? Let's show him. Let him be seen, man. He was a warrior king. He wouldn't hide himself. He was a man after the Most High's own heart. He'd let it be known if it was him. Where's he at, man? Verse 24, and David my servant shall be king over them, and they shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. And are those people over in that land doing that? Or is this, or are they sneaking off, right? and having a code word, white steak, for pork? Is that what they're doing over there? I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing over there. Now here's another thing that they try and just lazily say, oh, if it's the Old Testament, it's happened already. That's very, oh my, it's such a lazy doctrine, man. It's the Old Testament, oh, that's happened already. Just because you don't know what it means, it's happened already. Like I really believe that a lot of these Christians actually start reading the Bible from the book of Matthew, which it doesn't make any sense, man. When you actually see all the process of what Yahweh went to for the Israelites, and then for you to then believe that he's all of a sudden now going to not have mercy on them, even though after the Israelites had taken place in causing for Yahweh Shai to be crucified, the apostles still went up to the men that was there at the time, man, and said, repent. So what are people talking about? Malachi chapter 4 and verse 1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And that day cometh and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Now, has that happened? Because I'm pretty sure everyone in the world will remember a day that burns like an oven. Everyone remembers the days of the L downs, right? Where people couldn't come out the house. Everyone remembers that, right? Everyone remembers people being scared whenever somebody coughed, right? They remember the people with the things on their face, the long queues in the shop, them being able to work from home, the roads being empty, everyone becoming professional walkers. You know, they remember that. So I'm pretty sure people remember a day that burnt like an oven. And that all the proud yea was as stubble. I'm pretty sure people remember that, man. But if you ask a Christian, they'll say, that's happened already. Here's another thing. Because like I said, I was looking and just doing some research into this, man, because I'm tired of these Christians talking, man. I'm tired of them talking about the Bible that we know we believe in, man, and they just take it and use it to try and, we're like Denzel Washington in the book of Eli. And they're like the Edomite guy, man, that just wanted the book to try and have power over people. And he said, what did he say? He said, if I had this book, I can control over everyone. And the words have to come out of the book. And that's what these Christians do. They'll try and take some words out of the Bible, right? That sound like it could be saying you can eat pork, and they'll say, see? So when I'm not sinning when I eat this. Yet Yahweh clearly said, don't eat pork. He clearly said it. So why don't you just admit that you like eating pork and be done with it, man? And then really, if you're just about all doing what you want to do all the time, why don't you just say why don't they just say, man, they don't believe in Yahweh, they don't believe in the God of the Bible, they don't believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and why don't they just go and join Satanism, man, where you can do as thou wilt? Why don't they just go and do that? Because they're already on some witchcraft anyway. Why are they trying to bother the Bible, man? Why is it that all these people that don't believe in the Bible are always trying to disprove it and trying to worry about it all the time, man? Just go do your own thing, man. Yahweh don't want you, and you're saying you don't want Yahweh, so leave him alone. Leave it alone and go do something else, man. Daniel chapter 2 and verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Has this happened yet? Is there a kingdom that stands forever? Now they'll probably say, yeah, he's talking about America. He's talking about the United States of America. No, this kingdom has not taken place yet. This has not happened, man. This has not been fulfilled. Now let me go to this as well. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. So has that happened yet? Have the saints of the Most High, which is the Israelites, have they took the kingdom? So that can stand forever, even forever and ever. Has that happened? No, it hasn't. It has not happened, man. Now let me get this as well. I'm going to end the lesson after this one, because there's many more things that you can go into, and there's obviously other loads of scriptures that other brothers will know as well that prove that everything in the New Old Testament has not taken place yet. But this is just a few to show that these Christians are just liars, man. This is Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, right? And their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Has this happened yet? Now, has this happened yet? Because that sounds very descriptive, man. Has that taken place yet? Can a Christian prove that that's happened yet? Can they show it? No, they can't, man. And that's a future prophecy that's going to be caused by nuclear fire. That's the same thing that's being spoken of in Malachi 4 and 1. That's the same day that he says, where Yahweh says, I've come to send fire on earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? That's talking about the same day, man. That's the same time that's spoken of in Revelation 14 and 9 and 10. I'm going to end the lesson there. There's many things that are written in the Old Testament that have not happened yet, so it's very lazy to say that if something's spoken of in the Old Testament, that it's happened already. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Makar Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to all of the people that are of the elect of the nation of Israel, who are the Israelites that Yahweh cares about right now on this side. Shalom.